Good morning, dear students. Today we will study the lesson The Happy Prince. It is a very beautiful story. It is an emotional story, plus, it gives you a very good moral to help the needy and to help the poor people. This is the message, this is the moral given in this lesson. Let's see the story. This is a story about the statue of a happy prince and a little swallow. Which are the two characters here? A happy prince and a little swallow. The happy prince was a beautiful statue stood on a tall column high above the city. So we have always seen the statue of the kings and prince. At many places we have seen. So here also the statue of a happy prince was high above the city. The statue was covered with thin leaves of gold. What it was covered? It was covered by thin leaves of gold. He had sapphires for his eyes and a ruby in his sword. So it was decorated very beautifully, and naturally if we see any statue made up of gold and it has rubies and sapphires on on the statue, then naturally it will be a beautiful and it would be a thing to be visited. One night a little swallow fell over the city. He was tired and want to spend the night between the feet of the happy prince. So what happened? A little swallow was there. It was tired and he wanted to spend the night between the feet of the happy prince. As he was ready to sleep, just then a large drop of water fell on him. It was curious as there were no clouds in the sky. Now, if there are no clouds in the sky, then definitely we will think that from where this water has come. Is it raining? Then another drop of water fell on him. The swallow decided to look for another place. Just then, third drop fell on him. He looked up and saw that these were the tears from the eyes of the happy prince, and the swallow filled with pity. See what happened? Wet first drop, second drop, and when the third drop fell on the swallow, then the swallow saw that it was the tears, the happy prince is crying. Then the swallow asked, "Who are you and why are you crying?" The happy prince told the swallow that he lived in a palace while he was alive and had a kind human heart. Now the happy prince is saying the story. He is telling the story that I used to live in a palace and I had a kind human heart. There was no sorrow at all. Means कहीं भी दुख नहीं था, and everybody was happy. And his courtiers called him the happy prince. After his death, he had been set up on a high pillar. Now, when the prince died, then his statue has been set up on a high pillar. His heart is made up of lead, yet and it always weeps when he sees the ugliness and misery of his city. Now, when the happy prince was there, when he was alive and he was living in his palace, that time no any sorrow he saw. He hadn't seen any sorrow. There was no anything. And there was no any wish of the prince which was not fulfilled by his parents or the wherever he was living. All his wishes were fulfilled. He never saw what is human misery. So now when his when his statue is placed in the high of the city, then he is watching that what is ugliness and what is misery of this city. He told the swallow that far away in a little street, a little boy of a seamstress is sick. Now what he is saying that to swallow, that you see far away in a little street, one little boy is there. Whose boy? A seamstress. Seamstress, the person who is doing press and who is doing tailoring work. That lady's boy is sick. He is crying and his mother could not give him oranges to eat. Why she could not give oranges to eat? Because she is extremely poor. He asked the swallow, who? The prince, the happy prince asked the swallow to give his ruby to the poor woman when he was going to Egypt. Now the swallow was going to Egypt. So what the happy prince requested, that you go and give this ruby to the poor woman and then you go to Egypt. But he obeyed the happy prince, and then he flew and laid the ruby on the table of the poor woman. Now see, in this way, the happy prince helped the lady by giving a ruby to that poor woman. Then the happy prince saw a writer. He was suffering from cold and was hungry. Whom he saw? A writer. And he was suffering from cold and he was very hungry. Happy prince asked the swallow to give one of the sapphire to the writer. The swallow did not want to pluck out the sapphire from his eyes, but he obeyed him unwillingly. Now the happy prince is saying, so he has to obey it. So unwillingly he obeyed. After that, the happy prince saw a match girl and her matches fall into the gutter. Now the third one whom he saw, the happy prince saw a match girl, a girl who was selling matchsticks, and her all the matches fall into the gutter and it was wet. Now the girl is crying. At his command, the swallow very unwillingly plucked out the sapphire from the other eye of the happy prince, and now the prince was totally blind. Now both the sapphires are plucked from his eyes, then how can he see? Then what happened? See, the swallow slipped the sapphire into the palm of the match girl. Then the happy prince allowed the swallow to fly away to Egypt. But the swallow decided to stay with the blind prince forever. Now see what happened. The swallow gave both the sapphires. Now the swallow has become very upset also when he is talking with the happy prince, and now he decided to stay with the blind prince, because now the prince cannot see anything. So what the swallow decided, that now I should stay with him only, because if we could not see, so that I can help him and I will give him the news, I will give him the report about the city, because this happy prince is a very good prince. He is helping other people indirectly. The swallow was also kind hearted, so he also thought that I should not go to Egypt and I will live with this happy prince. The swallow reported about the sufferings of the starving people. Now what the swallow is doing? He is reporting about the sufferings of the starving people. At the command of the happy prince, the swallow took of the golden leaves from the statue and distributed them among the poor people. Now at the command, when he is giving the report to the happy prince was saying that now you pluck one gold leaf and go and give to this person, pluck another gold leaf and give to another person. In this way, he distributed all the golden leaves among the poor people. Now the statue was dull and grey. Now definitely if all the leaves, diamonds, everything was plucked, then the statue was dull and grey. The frost means the frozen winds, made the swallow colder and colder, and he was about to die. Now the swallow was about to die. Actually, why he was going to Egypt? Because when the weather is becoming frosty, or when the weather is becoming extremely hot, then the birds and animals migrate from one place to another place for their safety. So the swallow was also going to Egypt so that it can live in the favorable climate. But now the climate is becoming extremely unfavorable for the swallow. So what it did? It remained there only, and the climate is becoming unfavorable for the swallow. So now it was colder and colder and he was about to die. He flew to the happy prince, who bade him kiss him on the lips. Now he wanted to say goodbye by kissing on the lips of the happy prince. The swallow fell down, died at the feet of the statue. Now the swallow died. The lead heart of the prince broken into two. Now the heart of the prince also broken into two. The mayor ordered that the statue should be pulled down because it was neither beautiful and now it is not useful also, because people are not looking the dull statue. And when it was beautiful, people were visiting and they were looking and they were becoming happy. But now the statue has become useless. The broken heart did not melt in the surface. Now the broken heart was not melting on in the furnace. It was thrown away on a dust heap where the dead swallow was also lying. Now the heart was also thrown and in the dust, and the dead swallow was also thrown in the dust heap. God asked the angels. Now what happened? See, when these such kind of great people are there, then what happened? God asked the angels to bring the two most precious things in the city. Then God told the angels, Farishte, that to bring two most precious things in the city. God praised the angels' choice. Now they have to choose to what we should bring there. And God likes, the best thing for God is what? Kindness. Kindness is the best thing for God. So God, when the angels brought the heart of the happy prince and the swallow towards God, then God praised the angel's choice in bringing him the laden heart of the happy prince and the dead swallow. So God loves those people, those who are kind-hearted. So we should always be kind-hearted and we should always help poor people. This is the true spirit of our life, and wish we can enrich our soul by helping others. Thank you.